Y'all know me, still same old G, but a bit low key. All right, we're good to go. All right, people, we're back to Standing Telly Talks time. I'm joined, as always, by my good friend Maddie the Mattress here. I really haven't had any sponsorship here. I did, a couple things with some other products, like the VBT one with GymAware, but I'm happy to announce that I have my first sponsorship that I've signed on to, and that's Renaissance Periodization. They approached me before, and I basically told them, I really respect you guys as a company, but I don't respect myself as a person, because I am unable to hold myself accountable. When I followed along with the app, after a few weeks, I would just drop off like a piece of shit. So while I'm in this weird kind of limbo where we don't have any weightlifting competitions, it's hard to periodize a program if there are no weightlifting competitions because we don't know what the periods are. I decided to once and for all focus on my aesthetics, baby. Yeah! I want to leave humanity behind and go visit my pals Rich and Ziz, and also Harambe while we're at it. I miss you guys, okay? 2020 sucks. Nothing's been good since you guys have been gone. Anyways, yeah, I want to look better, and while I do that, I want to put in a lot of work on hypertrophy. I will be weightlifting alongside this as well, but I'll talk a little bit more about that programming. So what I did was I signed on with Renaissance Periodization. It's awesome. I really like these guys. Over the next 12 weeks, this is my verbal contract to you guys, I will be following RP to the best of my ability. And I will also follow my hypertrophy program that I will post on my Patreon, again, to the best of my ability. And this is my verbal contract to you guys. Now you guys can haze me and say,
hey Zach, remember when you said, you wanted to leave humanity behind and join Ziz and Rich and Harambe, and now you're maxing out and doing, CrossFit and
what's going on, Zach?
You can now haze me, but guess what? I want you to do it with me. So go on RP, get the goddamn app. If you don't check out with the code ZT, I'm gonna reach through the screen and kick your ass. All right? I won't do that. I appreciate everything you guys do for me. I'll probably kick your ass though. Also, you can follow along on my Patreon. So get this, if you sign up for Renaissance Periodization and use code ZT, you'll get 6 months for $9.99 a month. And then you can get my program and literally lift basically alongside me for an additional $1 a month.
I'd buy that for $1.
And you'll get my programming. We can leave humanity behind together, and we will all just be so fucking jacked, and we'll be lifting so much weight. It's gonna be awesome. Or as the kids say, lit. Now, to the video. I posted on my Instagram about a week ago, and God, I can't say about a week ago without thinking of the Bobby Shmurda song. I think he's also getting out of jail soon. Anyways, I digress. I posted on my Instagram, and it went like somewhat viral for me, right? It's by far the most views I've ever had on Instagram, by far the most likes I've ever had on Instagram. And it was a high school kid who was 18 years old, cleaning 405 pounds, 183 kilos, and doing it with very, very good technique. Now, after seeing this lift, that was probably the most impressive from a non-weightlifter I have ever seen, knowing that they're a football player, that they don't train in weightlifting, seeing their build, and then seeing the amount of weight they lifted and the way that they did it and how well he was able to do it. It was without question one of the most incredible lifts I've ever seen. What I realized was this was posted on ESPN's Facebook and ESPN's Twitter. And this is the thing about these big corporations on Facebook and Twitter is like they have people doing it for them. They don't understand anything. Like one time they posted Myles Garrett doing a back squat of like 300 kilos, 660 pounds, and it was like 4 inches deep and it looked horrible. And they're like, yeah, bro, this guy crushes weight, and like 9,000 comments of people being like, this is a dog shit squat, which like it just straight up is objectively a shitty squat. I think actually Philion did a really good video on the most like unnatural looking people.
Yes, I love looking at muscly men on steroids and whose physiques I will never get because I don't take drugs. Yes!
ESPN being like, here are the top 10 like most lit, strong athletes ever. Like, and it was just straight up dudes on gear. But when they posted this video, this kid cleaning 183 kilos, 405 pounds, a lot of the comments were,
the weight on the bar is not legit. There's no way. He hardly takes any time to set up, and the way that he moves it, like, that's crazy. That's my deadlift max. That's blah, 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 blah.
And I look at these people, pretty much none of them are weightlifters. None of them understand like the sport of weightlifting at all. None of them have really cleaned or snatched or clean and jerked. And it always reminds me of how little I fucking matter. Why do I say that? Because like, I always assume that people like know what the snatch and the clean and jerk is to an extent that is just so ridiculous. I think that people will see a 180 clean and they'll look at it and they'll be like, oh, nice, that was a clean. But instead they'll be like, there's no way that's real because of how fast it was and how easy it looked. It's like the ease of a lift. My God, some people PR and make it look like it was nothing. And maybe on that day they could have gone heavier, but they didn't. Yet that is still the heaviest lift that they've ever done. Look at any of Gabriel Sincrayan's PRs. Pretty much any of Lasha's PRs. The ease of a lift in a sport that requires explosive action just isn't a really relevant term. I even posted this to Reddit. The vast majority of the dialogue is people being like, yeah, it looks like 405 to me. Even if it isn't, let's say it's 35s. All of those are 35s, which I highly doubt that it is. Even if it is, I think it's like 325. It's still like pretty impressive. But for the most part, everyone in Reddit was like, yeah, like that's just a good lift. And like, look at where all of our talent goes. You know, because if we really want to talk about weightlifting in America, like, I don't know, this kid went to Auburn on a full ride scholarship, or train in a dungeon and hope that you can go to the Olympics in 4 to 8 years. Like, you're going to take Auburn on a full ride scholarship and play in front of 100,000 people, yada, yada, yada. Nothing's going to compare to the AAU system of basketball going into the collegiate system of basketball, high school football going into the collegiate system of football, and then going on to the pros. Like, nothing's going to beat that. And we know that in America. Back to my main point. People just don't know weightlifting on the level, obviously, that I think that they do. And that actually kind of helps me out, because the moment I think that my channel is like bigger than it is and that more people know about it is like the moment where I take my foot off the gas, not work as hard. And it really helps me when I realize how big of a piece of shit I am. Small and unimportant I am. And that's basically why I'm doing this diet, right? When I let my foot off the gas, I let my body go. Wake up at whatever time I want. I go to sleep at whatever time. So now I'm like kind of holding myself accountable. Maybe we can call this challenge the, like, I don't know. Anyways, furthermore, the main point I was making on that Instagram post, if you go to an Instagram like 0 for 6 Lifting, you'll see a lot of athletes doing snatches and clean and jerks, or the variants of those, horribly wrong. Yes, they're using the snatches and the clean and jerks as ways to develop their skill in their sport, or develop certain aspects of performance in their sport. But that's not an excuse to move like shit. Oftentimes the critique back from them when they get a bunch of comments being like, hey, you move like shit, is,
guess what? This isn't my sport. I dare you to come out to
insert Olympic arena, whether it's a track or pool or, you know, a pitch or whatever,
and come and try to teach me how to do that shit.
No, there's kids out here who are 18 years old who are doing it properly, who are doing it very safe. They're just proving you wrong. There are other athletes. Blaine McConnell, one of them, he's on the world team, on the United States world team for bobsledding. He snatches 150 kilos. He power cleaned near 200, maybe he power cleaned 200. You look at a guy like Ryan Krauser, a shot putter. He moves pretty well, and he moves a lot of weight, and he does it really well. He doesn't look like a piece of shit. That's one of my points. Another one is people want to demonize the snatch and the clean and jerk, mainly strength and conditioning coaches, but it's because they themselves don't find the juice is worth the squeeze. And to a certain extent, that point is valid. If you yourself do not carry the skill to coach a larger group of lifters how to snatch and clean and jerk, given the amount of time you have, it's not worth it. in that case, the juice isn't worth the squeeze. However, if you can coach them into doing it, if you can get them to move properly, I've made videos on how to get a completely new athlete to below the knee hang power snatch, below the knee hang power clean, how to push jerk, how to push press, how to strict press properly. If you can do that quickly, then all that matters from that point on is loading. So anytime we see poor movement, it's just a loading problem, because you take load off the bar and they might move better. I think another part of it is ego too. Anytime you implement a movement, whether it's a snatch variation or a clean variation or a jerk variation, people seem to think that they want to get the most out of it as soon as possible, which is just, it's kind of an asinine idea, because you have time to develop that skill. The way that I would implement a power snatch is get everyone together, line up, and it'll be part of our warm-up. I'll teach you a progression with the barbell. We'll go through it nice and quickly. It might take 5 to 10 minutes. We're warm. Now we can go to back squats. We can go to trap bar jumps. We can go to simpler things that allow us to develop rate of force development. Now, over the course of 4 weeks, I now have gotten that barbell progression up to 40 kilos. The next 4 weeks after that, 60 kilos. Now you get guys doing power snatches below the knee with 60 kilos. From there, you can start to periodize a little bit. You can start to do overload. You can use overload tactics. You can start messing with different volumes, different rest periods with that 60 kilos. Next thing you know, within the next phase of training, you have guys power snatching, hang power snatching, 100 kilos. I couldn't tell you what it is, because it'll be a broad variety, but they'll be doing it fast and they'll look good. We get this weird scope that if we're not doing exactly what we want to do at this exact moment in time, we write those movements off as not being, worth teaching in the first place. But anyways, that's the end of my rant. If you want to follow along with me on Renaissance periodization, go get the app, use code ZT, you get 6 months for $9.99, and then go to my Patreon and pay $1 a month, and you guys can do the exact same training that I will do. Again, you guys can haze me to do the right thing. Jesus Christ, Alex, cut that last part out. And we can all do this together, leaving humanity behind, etc., etc. I love you guys so much. Take it easy.